Well, that's it. Today is Monday, October 3rd. I'm leaving Kalispell, Montana. Just stopped at the pilot over here at the Highway 2. And actually, I'll be taking the same road that my friend took me on when we went to see the glacier, where I took all those pictures from the glacier trip. And I got 91. It's $4.38 per gallon. But I was pretty full, so only the tank took 7 gallons. So pretty much roughly 28 liters. And I wake up real early, couldn't sleep, probably went down at like 3 o'clock down to the lobby. And I was fooling around with my computer, watched some videos. Oh, yesterday this the guy who took me acquiring signal. Well, we don't have signal. The guy who took me the day before, he took me to the park in his car, and I wanted to give him money, and he's one of my YouTube fans. But he says, don't worry about it, it's you know, one of those cars that have
take the next right toward US 2 East, then turn right onto US 2 East.
It has electric motors, and it has
take the next right onto US 2 East, then turn right to stay on US 2 East.
Electric motor and regular motor, like 2 motors actually, because it's all-wheel drive. Oh, it was a Lexus.
Take the next right to stay on US 2 East.
No, pretty cool car. And yesterday I sent him a message, said, you want to do lunch? I'll pay this time, because on the day before he paid.
Continue on US 2 East for 30 kilometers.
And I said, what do you recommend for like seafood and steak, you know? And he gave me the name and address of the place. I think it was called Montana House or something like that. The food was great. And then after that, we went, I asked him, we were talking about hunting, you know, firearms. And of course, this is Montana. The rules are very, you know, easy here, easy going for firearms. And this guy, he has a couple of pistols. Yeah. He has a couple of rifles. And it was unbelievable. I said, I never held a pistol in my hands ever, like no BS. And I said, and I told him all about our system in Canada, like restricted, non-restricted. And I said, and he has a 45. I forgot the brand. It was not Colt, but like one of those big, massive guns that, like a revolver that Clint Eastwood shot in the movie there. Amazing. And he has that Savage High Country rifle with an expensive scope. So that was pretty cool. So we just, you know, looked at them and touched them, made sure they're empty and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very interesting. This is my first time. I don't think I ever held a rifle, because last time, well, it was not a rifle. Like in Russian, it's called автомат, like a machine gun. But it's pretty much like select auto rifle, like what military uses, right? But back in the army, when I was in the army, I remember we had exercises at night, and they gave us tracer bullets, and so we were shooting these AKM paratrooper version, select fire, so full auto. And that thing, it was a modified version of AK-47, because it had a folding metal stock. So when you jump with a parachute, you tuck this thing under your straps and it takes less space. And also, instead of 7.62 bullets, you were shooting NATO 5mm something, like a NATO bullet. And so that was the last time I ever held, but this was a military weapon, right? Not a regular hunting rifle, but a regular hunting rifle, or let alone pistol or handgun. I never touched, you know. So it was amazing to see. And he had like a 9mm, and he had a cool pistol. I never knew that you can get that caliber in a pistol, 10mm. And he says with this one, he says I can shoot a bear. He says one shot, like he says 9mm, not so much, but 10mm, because he has a bear hunting permit. And if you don't use it, he didn't find any bears in the fall, so it carries forward, that allowance carries forward to the spring. So basically he's waiting for the spring to go shoot some bears. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, and the hotel I was staying at, man, that's like a palace, you know, like 50-foot tall ceilings. I had a king-size room, so 100, the same what, imagine what I was paying in Victor, Idaho, right? I was paying $180 US a night, but it's like a small house, a cabin. Here it's $180 per night for a king-size, you know, for a room with one king-size bed. But for I've been there 3 days, and I didn't even start the TV until the end of day 2, because I was working on my computer, you know, uploading pictures, creating videos. And if anybody is interested, somebody was asking me about my photography. Did you ever think of selling them? Well, it's not exactly a hobby, because I also have a couple of websites, right, where I upload all my good photography. They all listed in the description under this video, and also in the, you know, like about me section. If you're interested, if you just want to look at them, go check it out. But Pixels is more for prints. Sergei-Dratchev pixels.com. That's for prints, where you can choose a frame, or you can buy a picture and put it on a t-shirt, or on a hat, or on a shower curtain, whatever. Like, there's many forms they allow you to buy the print in, but it can be framed. They will put it in the frame, ship it to you, but it's not cheap. So the cheapest way is to just buy the print with no frame, and then you frame it yourself somewhere. And then my other website, elami.com, I have a bunch of pictures there. That one is digital, so that one is cheaper, because you buy a digital picture, and then, you know, you do whatever you want. You can print it out. If you have a printer, you can go to a commercial shop, right, and get it printed and framed. So those are my two main websites for my photography. And again, the links are in the description. And then I restarted Instagram, so it's Sergei Dratchev Photo, but that's just for photography, mostly nature and wildlife. So what I do there, I take the original picture, I reduce the size to like 1200 pixels across, like a small version, otherwise people start stealing them. And that's what I do over there. Oh yeah, and so I got up real early, but I didn't want to leave, because I remember the road, like when we went with my friend here in his car, you know, because I said I'm interested in wildlife, and the west side of the glacier park is now closed. Like the most direct route to that place where he saw sheep and he saw bears would be like 40 miles. But because it's under construction now, they closed that road on October 1st. You have to go around, like, I don't know, 150 miles. And so, and that's the same road I'm taking now. It's the road that circumvents the park on the east side, because it's Highway 2, right? And so I remember that the road was a bit scary. then you go into mountains, you see like this. And so why I'm telling you all this is because even though I got up at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I didn't want to drive in the dark, you know, so I left the hotel at 7. I had a quick breakfast there, and then packed my stuff, and now you see and I booked, I talked to a few realtors in Calgary, Alberta. I'm still set on dropping my anchor in Calgary, Alberta. 3 major reasons why I chose Alberta. Number one, the most important one, much cheaper real estate pricing. Number 2, proximity to beautiful scenery and wildlife. And number 3, lower taxes. Like they have only 5% sales tax, and the income taxes is the lowest in Canada. It's still probably higher than in the States, but it's the lowest in Canada. And so those are my main 3 reasons. Cheap real estate, good location for me as a amateur wildlife and nature photographer, and favorable tax situation. So I talked to a few brokers. They all pushing exclusive buyer representation. I told them to go boil an egg. But I talked to this friend of mine, right, who was taking me to the park. He used to be a realtor. He says, if I were you, I would deal with a agent that represents you, like a buyer's agent. But I don't care. I went to the realtor.com, but in my case, realtor.ca. I see what I like. There's an agent listed there. Like it says, for viewing, click here. So that's what I did. So one guy says, yeah, sure, I can show you the apartment. He never mentioned if he was a buyer's agent, seller agent. So I have a booking actually today. It's only like 6-hour drive, but it's still like 7:27 local time. So the border, I'm crossing into Canada I thought it would be Sweetgrass, Montana, but I'm crossing like Coutts, Alberta on the other side, but I'm crossing actually through the one that's way closer to me. It's called Carway, C-A-R-W-A-Y, Carway. It's also a commercial crossing, so you can cross there with a semi-truck, but it's not open 24/7 like Coutts. It's only open now. It's from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and that's another reason why I couldn't leave, real early. I really don't like driving in the darkness in mountains, And so today at 3:30, I think. Yeah, I'm looking at my first apartment, and yesterday I filled out a mortgage application. Things are looking good, so I should be able to get a mortgage, because technically I'm still a trucker. All my businesses are open. My business account, I had one load in September 2nd. Remember that big crane I brought to downtown Toronto? So who cares? I'm still a trucker. The most important thing, my Ontario MC, right? Kind of like what they have in the States, Motor Carrier Authority. So I have CVR, Commercial Vehicle Operator Registration. It's active, right? My US DOT number in the States is still active. So, paperwork wise, I'm a trucker. And then I was carrying these two cameras, right? They're pretty heavy that I just bought, and I don't know, I really like this small mirrorless camera, Z6 or Z6 as we say in Canada. Yeah, I gotta stop for the school bus. It's a very big fine if you try to pass them. I think it's like $5,000 here. Oh, this, wait, that's in Canada. I don't know what it's here, but I'm gonna pass him before he stops again, because there's I see private drivers everywhere here. Oh, and one cool thing happened yesterday when we went to my friend's house where he was showing me his firearms. On the way back, he had to come my way in his car, like for some business. And he asks his 11-year-old son, he says, "You want to come?" And he says, "Yeah." And I was parked on the street next to his house, and my friend told me that his son also watches my videos and he really likes my car. And imagine, you're 11 years old, right? And so it occurred to me, I went to his car because they were still in the driveway. I said, you wanna have a ride in my car? You ever been inside a Dodge Charger? And the kid was happy to accept the invitation. So I showed him some, some pools. we were coming under a bridge. I opened windows briefly. I hit the gas. He was like squealing with delight. So when I asked him what car he wants to buy when he's grown up, he said Porsche. Or he wanted something like, what is it called? Pagani? Like Bugatti, like one of those expensive cars. But if the memory of the yesterday's ride sticks with him, he might end up owning a Dodge Charger. I'm telling you, he was really impressed with with the car. And I showed him the sport mode. I showed him all this, satellite radio, all these little cool things. Oh, and we did a remote start. I showed him the lights, because this car has beautiful lights in the back, right? It's the full panel, lights up when your lights are on. Of course, I have automatic lights. I don't have to do anything. Like now, my lights are on. When we have daylight, they switch off by themselves. You see, when it's daylight, it's so much easier to drive here. It's not crazy mountains, but still, like also when it's real early, of course, there's always a danger of hitting some wild animal trying to cross the street, right? And I have my speedometer in miles right now, so all I have to do just push this button OK, and you see now it says 105 kilometers an hour. I push it back to 65, because I don't want to drive too fast. I'm trying to preserve fuel. Oh yeah, and so talking about cameras, I'm still within my 14 days, and after shooting the Z6 II mirrorless, it's really difficult to lug around that D850, the DSLR, which is great camera, high resolution, everything is cool. It's very good for flying birds. Like the autofocus, everybody says is better, like for tracking birds in flight, than the Z6 II. but I don't shoot that many birds, you know. And most often, like, you know, you saw previous videos, it's usually the animal just stands there. Like, I like big ones, like a deer, you know, bear, you know, and they're barely moving. So it's not like they're flying around the sky at 100 miles an hour, you know. But I do like eagles, you know, falcons, ospreys, that kind of stuff. I shot some, I had some nice pictures of pelicans when I was in at that Bar Lake State Park in Denver. Beautiful place. I did 10 miles on foot around the lake, and that's where I saw hawks, and I think I saw bald eagles. But again, even bald eagles, they were sitting in the tree, you know, just looking at me. Who is this guy? Like two guys, you know, there were two eagles, and I could envision them talking to them. Bob, you know what that guy is doing? What is he? Is he gonna shoot us, or what's that thing in his hand? Oh, relax, it's a camera with a big lens. He's not a hunter. Jim, we got it, so we good, we're safe. Like huge ones, you know. There was a tree, but it was like maybe, I don't know, 100 meters away. And so basically, I was thinking about this, you know. I really decided I don't need two cameras, you know, even though everybody says, well, if you're a professional photographer, you need to have a backup camera. But you know, it's a lot of money. And so I reached out to Nikon, because I bought it directly from Nikon Canada. I said, hey, can I return the D850? And they say, well, we can charge you a restocking fee. I said, yeah, go ahead. And then they give you a bunch of reasons there. What's the reason? And the first one says, purchased a wrong item. So I click on that one. And so now, once I'm in Canada, in Calgary, I found a UPS store. Yeah, I have the address. It's right in, I'm gonna be staying in northeast Calgary near the airport. And so what I was doing at the hotel there, I found a UPS store where I can, you know, box and package this camera so that, you know, it's not damaged, and it's going back to Nikon headquarters that are in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And after that, I'm guessing I'm gonna grab a lunch and then get ready for my first viewing at 3:30 in the same airport area. Like, I found that area has a brand new developments, you know, of high-rise condo apartment buildings. And I checked the monthly fees. They're all around $200 Canadian a month, you know. Excellent.
In 600 meters, turn left onto Glacier Route 1 road going to the Sun Road.
And there, I think this is the shortcut that we took last time. So this one is going to be hilly. So I want to show you guys this. See, closed for season.
Turn left onto Glacier Route 1 road going to the Sun Road.
I think it's a shortcut. No, it's not a shortcut. But I remember we were here.
Continue on Glacier Route 1 road for 3 kilometers.
No, wait a second. This one is closed. You cannot go here. Yeah, we were here the other day, and I know the road is closed. See, this stupid thing doesn't know where to send you, because it's a new development. Like, we came here with my friend the other day, right? Because he had some business he had to do on his phone, and he says there's no signal if we keep going further.
Turn left onto US 2 East.
There's no signal. Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure that it sends me. Okay, yeah, so it sends me on to.
Continue on US 2 East for 108 kilometers.
It's a good thing that I know this. again, if this was like night and I was driving at night, I would probably try to go there. And that road, some like 5 kilometers down, is closed because that's the west entrance to the park. And over here the sign said East Glacier, and so you have to do this huge circle. And so yeah, I'm sending back the big DSLR. I'm keeping just the 6Z2. Maybe I'll get another camera, but I don't know. But I really like mirrorless because of the weight and how easy it is to take pictures, because you don't have to take test shots. When you look in the viewfinder, you see your histogram, like the exposure. You can preview what the picture is gonna look like after you press the trigger, the shutter, you know. Whereas with the DSLR, typically you have to take a shot, then look at the histogram, see if it's too dark or too light, then you correct it with exposure compensation, shoot again, you know. So basically, where you have to take 2 or 3 shots with the DSLR, with this mirrorless, at least with the Nikon, you don't have to do that. And also I found, for some reason, the mirrorless is much more accurate with exposure. Like if I leave everything on automatic and I just, you know, press the shutter button, 9 cases out of 10 on a DSLR it'll be too dark. Whereas on a Z6 II, it just, even though there's like a sky in there, you know, like lots of bright light, the mirrorless somehow is not fooled by that, you know, and it gives you a balanced exposure, so everything looks good. So I want to use that as my main camera because it's so cool. Oh, and it's very good at videos because it has tracking autofocus, kind of like Canon dual pixel AF. Whereas D850, it can do video, but it's gonna be kind of like, you know, you focus on something, and as long as that object is not moving, you're fine. But if it starts moving, the camera will have hard time focusing, keeping the focus on. Yes, okay, so you see now, that's where I didn't want to drive in the dark. I probably should switch on my sport mode because it gives me better braking, because it switches to higher gear, so there's a better braking effect. See, 45 miles per hour. So somebody wanted a driving video, so this will be my driving video. Basically, we'll call it Farewell Glacier National Park. Oh, and also, just for giggles, I signed up on a Freelancer website. You know, there's a couple of websites where you can post your talents and your resume, and, you know, see if people will hire you to do some freelance work. And I was just talking to my other friend in Edmonton, Alberta. I said, what's the biggest newspaper in Calgary? Like, because I was thinking, you know, I can just drive around if I see something's happening on the street, you know, some kind of, I don't know, protest, demonstration, whatever. I have good cameras. I can take some, you know, news of the day kind of photo, or something happening, you know, like a police, or I don't know, like some accident, you know, and you can send it to the newspaper or TV or radio station, right? And he says, yeah, you can see if you can, you know, maybe send a small sample to a TV station or radio station, see if they want to pay you any money for this, you know, kind of like, you know, I'll start studying, you know, the freight brokerage, but on the side, just for fun, and maybe some couple of extra coins, I could do some freelancing. And so he found me a website which is kind of like #1 freelancer resource, And it's basically, you can be a computer programmer, you can be a photographer, you can be a videographer, you know, video content creator. And you post you create a profile over there. They charge you, originally they charge you 20% for this. Like if somebody pays you, let's say $100, they will take 20. Then after 6 months, they take 10. And I think after 1 year, they take 5, you know? But you don't pay anything up front. They deduct that fee, kind of like a hosting or service fee from your revenue, whoever pays you. And so I thought about this, like, okay, who can hire me? What's my experience? I'm like, wait a second, I've been creating YouTube videos since 2008, right? I have 69,000 subscribers. I made 52,000 Canadian dollars in 2021 on YouTube. So it's like a, you know, decent job, you know, like, well, of course it's like, what, 30 grand US, but you can live on that money, right? So it's like a very viable experience. And then of course I have Alamy Pixels websites, right? So I was a photographer and I did sell a few prints. I think on Alamy I sold, since I started in 2018, I sold about 10 pictures, you know, like 3 a year, 3.5 a year, but it's still, it's sales. I did have sales, right? And on, yeah, that's Alamy. On Pixels, I probably sold like 5 in the same period, because I started them at the same time, Pixels and Alamy. And so I am a semi-professional photographer, you know, you can laugh. It's only 3 pictures a year, but I did have sales, right? And so I created a profile and it says, okay, work history. I say YouTube content creator, 2008 presently. Subscribers, so-and-so. Average income per year, this one. Name of my channel, this one. Focus of the channel, tracking, cars, photography. And then I did 2018 present, stock agency photographer, Alamy. And then the other one, 2018 present, portfolio photography for Pixels. Website address, this one, you know. So why not? If somebody has like some, you know, some gig they want to do, maybe some newspaper will hire me or something, you know. Maybe, you know, maybe some National Geographic will send me to Antarctic to shoot some penguins. You never know, right? The door will never open unless you push it or knock on it, right? But I think the best application of my talents would be video production, specifically for social media. I can do it with my eyes closed. You know, and actually when I completed my profile, and they show you right away if there's any jobs, you know, like any freelance gigs that people are looking for to fill. And there were 2. Somebody was looking again specifically for like social media marketing. Like one lady said she wanted kind of like TikTok and Instagram videos about her products, but she was only offering like, I don't know, $15 an hour. But it's interesting that there was something there, you know. But that's how it works, right? So you do your profile, now you registered with this platform, and then, you know, you check the offerings. Like, look at this. Crazy guy. Like the fog, right? What if there's a moose in there? Or anyway, a cow, a horse. He's driving, let me guess, 75. Look at Captain Sergei. I am a good boy today. 56 miles per hour. And so, you know, they say how to choose your occupation. You guys know, right? What's the easiest, simplest way? You ask yourself one question, and that question will help you determine your best occupation. Are you ready? Because I went through so many trials and tribulations when searching for, you know, a career. Because some people are lucky, right? Ever since they're like 7 years old, they know, let's say, like a girl. I was reading about one lady, I forgot the name, but she was like 6 or 7 years old. She enjoyed, you know, performing. You see? No location. Interesting. She enjoyed performing at home, at parties, you know, when her, like a birthday party. And so she knew from very early age that she wanted to be an actress or a singer. And she became an actress like 20 years later. But not all of us are that lucky, right? For many of us, our best skills are not that evident. Or like in my case, I have talents, but they're not exactly talents. They're more like, you know, like I'm good at many things, but I'm not like excellent at one thing. You know, like I'm not a genius, let's say, at dancing, or I don't know, or a car repair or something like that, or stock trading, right? I can do many things fairly well, but it's hard to choose, you know? And I remember even resorting to astrology, and I found a booklet, because I do believe in this stuff, because, you know, if gravity from the moon affects our tides, and our bodies are like 80% water, so all these celestial bodies, they do affect our health, right? Maybe not our destiny, but, you know, that's what astrology is about. But to me it was interesting. But when I read that booklet, like basically advice for Capricorn, so I'm a Capricorn, like born in January, and I was amazed where in like best occupations for Capricorns, it says there was like a bunch of stuff like accountant, so I know I'm good with numbers, I do my own books, I do my own taxes. But then there was creative, but more like a manager for a creative person, like a agent, you know, like a sports agent or impresario for somebody, like a manager, but in the arts creative sphere, like, I don't know, maybe movie theater manager. But I would like that too, because I was in sales, right? And then the biggest surprise was it did say shipping. They say Capricorns enjoy dealing with big, you know, kind of like sizes and big operations, like, you know, when you're shipping something big and heavy and stuff like that. So they're good at shipping. I'm like, holy moly, I'm in trucking and now I want to be a freight broker. So it's perfect, I'm telling you. Oh, and I even, when I came to Canada, I even hired a guy. I think I paid like 120, 150, 200 bucks, like one of those career consultants. And even that guy said, yeah, you can be an accountant, but you'll just basically die from boredom. So in your case, you need to combine, you have to wear basically many hats. You have to have a business, you know, or a job where there's a lot of functions, so you don't get, because you get bored easily. Kind of like, you know, he says, you're a smart guy, because we did all these tests, right? And I said, perfect. And that's why I like being self-employed as a trucker, right? Because I was doing so many things, right? I was a kind of like a mini transportation company, right? I was dealing with dispatch, routing, you know, e-logs, negotiations, you know, rate confirmations, permits. Even though I did not order permits for US myself, but I was dealing with the transport permits, the permit broker. I was doing maintenance, of course. I had to keep an eye on, you know, when I have to do these annual inspections for the truck, right? Do daily inspections, stuff like that. So there was a lot of things. It's not just holding the steering wheel, right? And then, of course, I had YouTube. I was doing videos about my job, so I learned how to do videos. So that's what, for me, that's what interesting. So I cannot just do one thing like accountant and stare in the monitor. And so back to the main question. So how to recognize your true calling. And how you do it? You leave the money outside. So basically there can be two questions. Question one, the most important one, what would you do if you had, let's say, $1 million in the bank? And some people, of course, I asked my former friend from China about this, and he says, what would I do? Nothing. I would lie on the sofa. But no, we're not talking about people like that. We're talking about people that, like me, I don't believe in retirement, right? I always need to do something. Otherwise, I'll die from boredom, right? So even if I had $1 million, I would not lie on the sofa. So we're talking about self-motivated people, people that, you know, enjoy life, enjoy living. They don't want to, you know, lie on the sofa getting fat and drinking, you know, 10 beers a day. And so that's one question. What would you do if money was no object? If you have enough money to last you until you die, and also you don't have to work for income, what would you do? And then, of course, a similar second question that, you know, kind of like coincides with this one is, what would you do for free? Right? So let's say there's a job and you love it so much, or a business, or I don't know, some kind of skill. You love it so much, you just want to get into the field, you don't care about the money. You know, what would you do for free? You know, and when I ask myself about this, I know the answer. I would travel and I would make movies and I would do photography, you know? Like, if money is no object, I love traveling, and I love traveling in my car better than in the truck because it's easier, faster, more enjoyable, less tiring, no permits, no e-logs. And I've been making YouTube videos, right, since 2008, like no BS, 14 years. And I've been trucking 17 years, right, close. But I don't have any desire to quit video making. I still enjoy it because it's so creative, you know. You can change every video the way you want. So I'm like a video producer, I'm the director, you know, I'm the actor, I'm the, you know, I'm the yard security, you know. Again, it's like multiple roles. So I really enjoy making videos for you guys, and I enjoy creating them, you know. Like, for me, life would be really boring if I could make videos. And I enjoy photography, so I like wildlife, I like landscapes, nature, I like visiting beautiful cities. Like on my pixels.com, if you go there, you will see I have collections for Toronto, New York City, Niagara Falls, and Florida when I was there a few years ago. So that's what I would do, you know, if money was no object. And so that was one of the reasons. So I said, wait a second, just, you know, for giggles, let me see if I can get some gigs out of this freelancer website. And so I registered, right? Even if I do like maybe one job a month, a couple of jobs a month, it still goes onto your profile. So people will see what you did. It goes onto your work history over there. Like right now it says 0, like, because I just registered, I didn't do anything. But man, this is going to be a very long drive, because look at this, I'm still driving southeast, and then the road starts going like this, northeast, and then back west. Yeah, I remember we were here the day before, right, with my friend. It took forever. I think the border where I'm going, I think it's about 100 miles from here. So I'm gonna pause for now because I've been talking. You guys are probably already falling asleep over there, especially I see that guy on the right with a beer. Put down the beer before you splash it out. So I'm gonna pause the video here. If I see something interesting, maybe if I see some animals or some interesting views, I'll restart it. Okay, cool. Okay, MT49, that's what we're looking for here. Because I remember this again, because I was here before with my friend, and so we did the same. I said, where are we going? And he said, well, it's a shortcut. Okay, 49 goes this way somewhere here. because it's pretty hilly.
In 200 meters, turn left.
But we did this in his SUV. But it'll
Turn left, then turn left.
But there'll be some interesting terrain over here. So I'm gonna show you this road because it's gonna be really hilly at the end. And then it connects with 89, and 89 will take me straight to Kauai, Alberta, to the port of entry. Oh, and I got my passport ready, and also I printed out my receipt for the lens, because remember I said I bought the 300mm f4 from B&H Photo, and they shipped it to FedEx customer center in Buffalo, New York, where I picked it up. But then after that I did not went to Canada, I just went straight through US towards Badlands and Custer and Yellowstone. So now I'm entering Canada, even though it's Alberta, but I gotta declare it. The good news is that because I've been in the States for 10 days, I left Thursday before last week. So 10 days, that means that they're giving me 800 Canadian credit. So if I buy something for $800 in Canadian money, it's free. There's no duties. But this one was like $1,750 after shipping US. And so what they do is they convert it to Canadian dollars at the current exchange rate, and then they deduct $800, and then I have to pay sales tax on the remainder, on the balance. But what's cool is that Alberta does not have HST like we do in Ontario. So there's only one tax, 5%, as opposed to 13% in Ontario. So I'm pretty sure they will make me pay just 5% of that balance after the $800 deduction. So it's okay, just a couple of bucks, you know, because I have to pay sales tax anyway, right? But I gotta declare it, otherwise they can start asking me questions. Why you have all this stuff? You have cameras, you have lenses, you have accordion. Where is this from? Well, this is from Italy via Burlington, Ontario. Yeah, see, this is a pretty... Okay, we gotta turn on sport mode again for braking power. Oh, and I think GPS found it. Okay, hold on. Let me recenter. All right. Now we are recentered. Two Medicine River. So the river is called Two Medicine. Now look at these colors, all these leaves. So I really got lucky with all these parks. You know, I didn't see a bad weather anywhere except well, it was raining in Yellowstone, just, you know, on and off, like in the morning when I was doing the tour. But there's no snow, you know, no hurricanes. And I got lucky with Florida, right? Oh, I forgot to say bad news from my family. From my family in Moscow, Russia. Because I'm back on talking terms with them, but we kind of like a little bit aloof. But I reinstalled WhatsApp. So I called my mother A few weeks ago, I said, okay, let's be friends. Let's play nice. I'll talk to you as long as we don't discuss politics, because they're still in favor of Putin. I don't know what's wrong with them. But the saddest thing happened. I asked my brother because I was concerned for him, because, you know, he was in the army, I was in the army, right? But I'm here. But now when Putin announced this mobilization, and I was thinking about my brother, because he's he's 51, and I don't remember what's the call-up limit age is for reservists. So I emailed him. I said, "Are you still a free man, or did they call you up into the barracks?" And he says, "No, I'm past the call-up age." Okay. But then I'm texting my mother on WhatsApp, and she says, "Сережку вызывают." Like Sergei, because that's my nephew, my brother's son, is also like me, Sergei. Sergei is being called to the military district office. And she says, we're afraid that they might take him. Because that kid is like, I don't know, 27, 28. You know, he's definitely within that age group. And he's been in the army as well. And then one day later, she sends me a message. She says, yeah, he got the papers. He got the call-up papers. So they're taking him to the army October 3rd, which is today. And when I woke up this morning and I was sitting in that lobby, of course, Russia is 8 hours forward. Well, like actually 12 hours now for me, because I'm on Central Mountain Time now. And she sent me a picture. My brother on the left, my mother in the middle, my nephew Sergei on the right, and I see he's wearing a backpack. And my mother was kind of like crying, on the WhatsApp. She's saying, I'll be praying that he comes back alive. But this guy was born in Ukraine, because his mother that my brother had him with, she was Ukrainian. And when we lived in Kirovograd, Ukraine, so this kid was born in Ukraine when Ukraine was still part of the Soviet Union. And so he's Ukrainian because his mother is Ukrainian, right? Like in Russia, you go by your parents. It doesn't matter where you were born, but it's who your parents are. Like I was born in Hungary, but my parents are Russians, so I am Russian, right? So in the States, it's different. Like over here, right? So a Mexican pregnant lady comes here, she gives birth to a kid, even though she's illegal, the kid is now American, right? It doesn't work like that in Russia. In Russia, they go by who your parents are, right? And so in this case, actually my brother was born in Ukraine, but again, it's the same parents, right? So they're Russians, but his wife was Ukrainian. So basically my nephew is like half Ukrainian, and he grew up there in Ukraine. And then when I helped my brother relocate to Moscow after me, right? First I moved, and then he asked me to help him, so I helped him resettle. And then he brought his son, my nephew. And so now the irony is that he became a Russian citizen, so he's being sent to kill people basically he grew up with. Man. And I said, can you do something? I mean, maybe just go to Georgia or go to Kazakhstan. But of course, then you're a deserter. They put you in jail if they catch you. But it's basically either you kill somebody or they will kill you. It's like, all this was very far away from me, but now it's personal, right? Because now part of my family is being sent as a, what they call it, cannon's fodder. And those Ukrainians, they know how to fight. They're good warriors. So yeah, this is just, sad. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, like this, or like a really, like a mountain road, you know. Oh, there was a sign there that said no vehicles over 22 feet long. And 22 feet, that can be even like a long straight truck. Like I know my semi truck, because it has 4 axles, it was 30 feet long. So even my truck would not be allowed, with no trailer, would not be allowed to drive here, because how sharp the turns are, and they're gonna get worse later. But you know, this is kind of like a fun road in a Charger. And speaking about Charger, I was just talking to this kid, right, that yesterday I took that kid for a ride, and he was really excited when I pushed gas. I showed him what the car can do. But I was telling him, I said, you heard that they're gonna discontinue all these big engine, you know, cars with big engine, like 5.7, 6.4 Hellcat. I said, last year is the last, I mean, next year is the last year when you can buy 5.7 or 6.4 or Hellcat Chrysler, like Dodge. I don't know about the trucks. I think they're still keeping Ram 1500, 2500, because they make a lot of money on those. I don't think they're gonna turn them electric anytime soon, but these ones, you see how sharp it is? Man. At the bottom there. So I thought that this is like this is the reason I'm doing this video, because I remembered about this crazy road and I wanted to show you guys this. Because you see, if I had a semi truck, if I still was a truck, I wouldn't be able to do it. But in a car, especially a nice fast car like this, full auto. But so yeah, because of these Challengers and Hellcats are gonna be discontinued, I really feel like I want to buy something, you know. Even though my car is like less than 2 years old, and now I have what? I have 13,619 kilometers, which is roughly 10,000 miles only. But I don't know. If I could afford it, no question, I would buy a Hellcat, you know, like wide body Hellcat, because I remember from my times with that 6.4 Challenger, even 6.4, the tires were too narrow for that much, you know, torque. And they give you pretty much the same tires. No, they give you what, 275, I think, on a regular Hellcat. And then if you get a wide body, they give you 305 millimeter. So that's what they should be in the first place, even on a regular body. Because there's just too much power, you know, like you don't have enough traction. Wow. But that's, yeah, like I said, if money was no object, I would get that. I would get wide body Hellcat. And I think we were stopping here the other day. Man, see, no joke, 25 miles per hour. Took a lot of pictures the day before. It was beautiful. The best part was we took a 1.5 mile trail, which was pretty difficult because it was going up, very steep. But then when we got to the top, because my friend, he was there before, he knew that that's where the good views are. We got to the top, and you can, you know, stand there at the platform and look down. There's a lake, there's mountains. It was just amazing. And so those pictures were in my YouTube video, and also I put them on my Pixels and Alami. Sport mode really helps here. I don't have to use my brakes as much. This is, you know, what they call a road to remember. Now imagine driving here in darkness or in rain. But this one for sure they close it. In winter they're gonna close it because it can be too dangerous when with the snow. We got just over a mile to 89. Perfect. See, 20 miles per hour here. So check this out. It's like a switchback. Man, I feel like a test pilot, you know? Like when they give you a brand new car and they say, go. Just gonna see what this thing can do. And I cannot believe it that, you know, after all this time, it's been only 10 days. It feels like a month. I've seen so many beautiful spots. I've seen so animals, and I did what, like 3,000 kilometers, which is around 2,000 miles. And now I'm back in Canada, except now I'm on the other side of Canada. My new home, Calgary, Alberta. Where I was getting ready. Remember, before I mentioned, I was talking to a real estate guy because I wanted to be in real estate when I came to Canada, and this guy was a realtor in Alberta. And he says, no, this is great.
400 meters, Montana 49 north turns left and becomes US 89 north.
Really? Okay, junction 89. Okay, we made it. Left, right, left, right. Now check out the sign on the right.
Continue on US 89 north for 60 kilometers.
US-Canadian border, 38 miles. That's it. 38 miles, so that's 38 minutes at 60 miles per hour. My friend in Alberta is asking me, how's the captain doing this fine morning? But of course I cannot answer. So you see here, of course, 89 is so much better. It feels like child's play after that 49. So bye-bye big mountains. Bye-bye for now. I guess I'll stop here. I'll do another video about my adventures in Calgary, how I find the apartment. But yeah, two major things today, and that's a mannequin. So two major things today I gotta do is I gotta view one apartment that I already booked, and I gotta send away my Nikon DSLR D850 back to Nikon for a refund. Oh, and I booked a hotel in the same area near the airport. I booked a hotel for 4 nights because now my goal is to find a place to live at. And so I'm a highly motivated buyer with a pre-approved mortgage. I'm ready to rock and roll. So that's what's going on. Cows on the road. Okay, I'll keep doing videos as long as you guys keep watching them, okay? Ciao.